Hi there, it's Nin from Nin Designs, co-writer of Keswick Arts and Crafts, and today I'm going to show you how to do the Kitchener double rib bind off. This bind off method is for a knit 2, as you can see, like a knit 2 and a purl 2 ribbing, and it requires an additional double pointed needle. Okay? So why would we do this bind off? Good question. The reason why we do this bind off, this type of sewn bind off, is because it matches, it's the match to a tubular cast on. And you can see how nice a tubular cast on edge is. It just kind of flows around. So, to make our final project have that really polished look, we're going to match the cast on edge with the bind off edge. Just makes everything look really good. Alright, so the way to start, first things first, you break your yarn and you leave a tail that is about 5 times the length of the edge to be bound off, and you thread it onto your tapestry needle. Now, for this purpose of demonstration, I only did the circumference of this cowl one time. I didn't use 5 times the amount of yarn because it's just a lot of yarn to try to thread through. So what I'll end up doing is basically when I get to the end of my yarn, I'll have to make a join and do like a split splice join and wet felt it so that I'll have the extra yarn to continue with sewing. So let's begin. What we do is we first remove the stitches off the left hand needle. Just slide them off, and my stitch marker. There we go. Go right to a purl. There we go. So now we're going, do you see how the purls are in the back and the knits are in the front? What we're going to do is take our double pointed needle and we're just essentially going to catch the purls that are in the back. When you catch them up onto that needle, double pointed needle, just make sure that you don't change the orientation of the stitch legs, so to speak. There we go. So our purls are on. I'm just going to slide them down so they don't jump off that back needle. Now we're going to put our knits back onto our left needle. So again, it's kind of tricky. So again, just carefully insert your needle, catching those knits without changing the orientation of the stitches, and hopefully not dropping any stitches. There we go. Almost. Alright. Okay, there, good. Alright, so you can see, oops, got a mistake there. There. So the yarn's a bit splicey. I'm using Cascade 220, which is a really great yarn, but I just find sometimes it had a mind of its own. Especially for things like this. Okay. There we go. Okay. Finally. All right, we've got the knits back on the original left-hand needle, and our purls are on this back double-pointed needle. And we're going to hold the two needles parallel with the knits in the front. So we're going to take our tapestry needle and we're going to insert our tapestry needle in this first knit stitch here, as if we were going to purl, and pull the yarn through. There we go. There. Okay. Now we're going to insert our needle, tapestry needle that is, into the back stitch, which is the first purl stitch, as if to knit the stitch, and pull that yarn through. I'm going to bring that loop around over the working needle in the front. There. Now, we're going to insert our tapestry needle into that first knit stitch again, but this time we're going to insert it as if we were going to knit. You see that? We're inserting it like we're going to knit, and we're going to pull the yarn through. But this time we're going to drop that first stitch, that first knit stitch. There we go. You'll see why in a second. That's so important. Now we're going to insert the tapestry needle into the next knit stitch as if to purl. There we go. Pull the yarn all the way through, and when we snug it up, you're going to see that our first tubular stitch has been formed. It's very pretty. Now we're going to take our tapestry needle and we're going to insert this tapestry needle into the first purl stitch on this back needle as if to purl, like so. Pull the yarn through, and we're going to drop that purl off that back needle. Okay. And now we're going to insert the tapestry needle into the next purl stitch as if to knit. That's a back needle back here. Insert it up through as if we're going to knit, and we're going to pull the yarn through. All right. And now we're going to insert our tapestry needle into the front knit, the first front knit stitch, as if to knit, like so. Pull the yarn through all the way and drop that knit stitch off the needle. I'm just snugging up our yarn. And there, you can kind of see how the sewing is making stitches that are tubular. So cool. Okay. Now we're going to insert the needle into the next knit stitch as if to purl. Pull the yarn all the way through. Insert the tapestry needle into the first purl stitch as if to purl. Pull the yarn all the way through and drop that purl stitch off that back needle. Okay? And notice that the knit stitch on the front seems almost like it's wearing a little collar when you do that, and that's just fine. I snug up my yarn. Okay, and now I'm going to insert my tapestry needle into the next purl stitch as if to knit. Alright, let's see, do I have a little mess on that knit stitch or that purl? Can't stand that. Let me just fix that. There we go. Okay, so we're going to insert our tapestry needle into the next purl stitch as if to knit. There we go. Pull the yarn all the way through. There we go. And now we're going to go back to that front needle and that first knit stitch. So we're going to bring our tapestry needle to the front and insert it into the first knit stitch as if to knit. Pull the yarn all the way through. There we go. And drop that knit stitch off that front needle. And snug it up. We're going to insert our tapestry needle into the next knit stitch as if to purl and pull the yarn all the way through. There we go. Now I'm going to insert the needle, the tapestry needle, into the first purl stitch back here as if to purl. Pull the yarn all the way through and drop that purl stitch off the back needle. There we go. Now we're going to insert our tapestry needle into the next purl stitch as if to knit. See how we do that? Up through. Pull our yarn all the way through. And we come back to the front needle, and we're going to bring our tapestry needle to the front and insert it into the first knit stitch as if to knit. There we go. Pull the yarn all the way through. And drop that knit stitch off the needle there and snug up your yarn. So now you can see, now that we've come this far, you can see how we've got our tubular cast off. We've got our first two knits and then our purls, and then the next two knits of our rib. And you just keep going like that. So you would go finish your length, and when you come to the very end, you would just simply sew, like pick up in this first knit from the original when we started the bind off, and pull tight, and then just sew up the little gap that was created. Break your yarn, or sorry, not break yarn, weave in your ends and then break the yarn, and you'd be done. And that is how you do the Kitchener double rib bind off. So again, this is Nin from Nin Designs, co-writer of Keswick Arts and Crafts, and have a great night. Thanks for watching.